A young restaurant worker steps outside to take out the trash. A routine task. A normal moment during a shift. But within seconds, that ordinary moment turns into a violent confrontation that forces a 19-year-old employee to fight for his safety. In today's archives, we're looking at the downtown Minneapolis attack involving a restaurant worker who used his training to defend himself after a disturbing encounter outside his workplace. Let's check it out. But before we get into the details, it is important to say this. The goal of STJ Archives is not to sensationalize violence or tragedy. Some of the stories discussed here involve real victims and serious situations. The purpose is to understand what happened, talk about safety and awareness, and examine the lessons communities can learn from these incidents. These conversations are meant to inform, not to exploit. Let's get into it. The incident happened outside a Lotus restaurant in downtown Minneapolis. 19-year-old Jazarius Sheldon had stepped outside to take out the garbage. For him, the restaurant wasn't just another workplace. He had known the family that owned the business since he was around 13 years old. That kind of connection can make a job feel more like a second home. But what happened next was something he never ever expected. As he walked past a man standing nearby, the individual began making hostile comments. According to Sheldon, the man confronted him verbally and questioned him why he was outside. At first, the situation seemed like harassment, but the tone quickly became aggressive. Several people were reportedly nearby when the confrontation began. Sheldon says one bystander was sitting watching as the suspect continued to escalate his behavior. At one point, the man allegedly made a threatening statement while pointing towards Sheldon. Moments later, the situation turned physical. The suspect began pushing Sheldon against a window. What started as words now turned into a fight. In that moment, Sheldon had not reacted, but he had to react at this point very quickly. What this attacker may have not realized was that Sheldon had martial arts experience. He studies Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and also wrestled during high school. Those skills became critical in the middle of the struggle. Sheldon says he repeatedly tried to control the situation by lifting the attacker and taking him to the ground, but the fight became even more chaotic. During the altercation, the suspect began biting him. Not once, not twice, but 6 separate times. These bites landed on Sheldon's back, his shoulders, his chest, and arm. And as the two struggled, Sheldon was dealing with an unpredictable and painful assault while the two were struggling, trying to restrain each other. Despite the injuries, Sheldon continued to try to control the situation. Each time he attempted to take the attacker down, the suspect reportedly latched on to him again. Witnesses eventually stepped in and pulled the two apart. But even after being separated, Sheldon says the suspect continued approaching him. The encounter remained tense until the attacker eventually fled the scene. Situations like this highlight something important. Violence rarely begins with the first punch. It often starts with warning signs, aggressive language, hostile body language, threats. Those signals can appear seconds before things turn physical. Recognizing those moments can sometimes give people a chance to distance themselves or seek help before the situation escalates. Of course, not every situation allows that opportunity, but awareness still can make a difference. The restaurant's co-owner, Yom Nugayan, spoke about the impact incidents like this can have on a neighborhood. His family has operated the restaurant since 1984. Over the years, they have watched the area change. The co-owner says safety concerns have become a growing issue for businesses in the area. Some customers hesitate to go outside because they feel uncertain about safety in downtown areas. He also acknowledged that police departments often face staffing challenges. With limited officers available, law enforcement has to prioritize calls and respond as quickly as possible. The co-owner also pointed out something many communities believe strongly. Active neighborhoods can discourage crime. When more residents are outside, walking, working, and supporting local businesses, it becomes harder for trouble to go unnoticed. Sometimes simply having people present can change the environment. Communities that stay connected often create safer spaces. Authorities began searching shortly after the attack, but police say they are actively looking for the individual involved and that the suspect could face felony assault charges if caught. This case carries several lessons. First, violence can occur during ordinary moments. A quick trip outside, a walk down the street, a normal part of someone's workday. Second, awareness. We talk about this all the time, STJ Squad. Awareness matters. Paying attention to your surroundings can sometimes help people recognize danger early. Third, knowing how to defend yourself can be valuable. As we read, the young man, he was training in self-defense and martial arts. But this does not necessarily guarantee your safety. But it can provide tools that can be used to react when you are under pressure. And in Sheldon's case, those skills helped him survive a dangerous encounter. Kudos goes out to Jazarius Sheldon. What began as a routine task outside his workplace quickly turned into a frightening fight for his safety. He relied on his training and instincts to protect himself during a chaotic confrontation. But the bigger picture in the message goes beyond one person's experience. It's a reminder that awareness, preparedness, and vigilance all play a role in keeping people safe, because sometimes approaches of danger comes when we least expect it. If you like deep conversations like this, then grab the Spilling the Juice book series at spillingthejuice.com, now available on all major book platforms. STJ Archives, signing off.